What's going on? What is going on? What is going on? Shout out to everybody who is here so far. Y'all know what it is. Today is Friday, February 26, 2021. It is the last Friday of the month, so y'all know it is Freestyle Friday, which is something I started to do annually, well, monthly, not annually, monthly on this channel. Well, this will be the first time I do it on this channel where I will, put the link into the chat. And if anybody wants to come up and talk to me about whatever it may be, you are allowed to do so. Let's see, who do we have here so far? We have Darlene, Dana. And shout out to you, Dana, for putting your husband onto my channel. As you know, this is the new live stream channel. This is why we going live once a week or using as a backup channel, because of what happened last week. Last week I didn't go live on Friday, but I went live every other day because of the issue that happened on my main channel. And of course, I didn't, go live last Friday because I also wasn't in town either. Let's see else do we have here. J-Dog, what's going on? Mark, Letitia, what's up? What's up? Gonna wait for a couple more people to show up. I know because it's a smaller channel. It's gonna take a while for people to really get over here. I'm not expecting like a huge crowd of people like if opposed to if I was live streaming on my main channel. But I did see the subscriber count on this channel did go up though since the last time I was on it, which was last week. And my subscribers is now at like 1460 something, like 1460 whatever. So it has increased and it's still steadily going up. So I still have to like promote this channel heavily, which is why I posted on my community tab on my main channel that I was going live on this channel today. Let's see who else we have here. Ashton, what's going on? 007 Spidey 2. Yes, yeah, today's episode of WandaVision was very good. J-Dog said, did you hear that Biden said the N-word? To be honest with you, considering his track record with black people, him saying the N-word does not surprise me. I don't even have to hear him to know he's probably said it. What's going on, Marie Williams? Just gonna wait for a couple more people to get in here. And for those of you who don't know what the Freestyle Friday is, it's a day when I just go live on my channel and I don't have any specific topics that I talk about. I do that at the end. I used to do it annually at the end of every year, but I said I wanted to change it this year and do it to the end of the last Friday of every month. So this is just a day where I just talk about, we just talk about whatever. It doesn't have to be topic based. And yeah, and of course all the other Fridays of the month, that's more topics based live streams. What's going on, Craig? Pinky, JYB, Amara, Tawana, what's going on? And shout out to everybody who has been a part of the community as far as getting the text messages for the videos that I do, because I know that sometimes the links do not, not the links, that the notifications don't work for the for the uploads that I do on my main channel. So I haven't had any complaints about people receiving the text messages. Everybody is enjoying it so far. I have 99 people who are utilizing it, almost at 100. Who else do we have here? Passion Black 1, Vulcan 2054. What's going on? I think I only have one thing I do want to show y'all though, to discuss, and it was something that I saw on my Twitter timeline yesterday, and I decided just to go ahead and put it into this live stream instead of doing it as a pre-recorded video. What's going on, Kathy B? 007 Spidey said, thanks for letting me on last month. Oh, no problem. What's going on, Shotgun Shogun 305? So yeah, 28 people in here so far. Make sure y'all hit that like button if you haven't done so already. Ashley, you said, I think with the more information about the U.S. government, the FBI, and the NYPD being responsible for Malcolm's death, the NRI are owed an apology. They'll be waiting for that apology forever. What's going on, Stephanie Maximus Royalty? I didn't expect this channel to grow in subscribers this fast, especially since I hadn't utilized it in so long before last week. But I said, you know what? Let me just go ahead and use this as the live stream channel. So this channel can get built up. The other one continues to grow for the most part every day. I need to get this one up, the numbers up for this one. I'll probably get started around 4:10. It's currently 4:06 and it says 29 people are watching. I don't think 29 people is in this chat though. Jada, you said Creator Face Crunch Bar, as I like to call her, has a new movement called hashtag We As Ourselves. This is not okay, whatever. I can't take her, this new whatever she got, or Me Too seriously at all. That's exactly right, Craig. Share this stream on your social media platforms, whatever social media you may have. I will greatly appreciate it. JK just said, "What's going on? What's up?" He says, "Forgot to hit the notification for this channel." Yeah, make sure y'all have that bell click for this channel. I don't know how the notifications work on this channel. I know they're real sketchy on my main channel, but that's why I say y'all got to text that number. You see that banner right there? Just text that number, and then you'll be able to get the notifications for everything I upload. Kingdom Afro Isaiah, good afternoon to you. Mar said, "Me Too played themselves." And apparently they're very greedy as well. And BLM, they pretty much just got exposed for doing the same thing that Me Too did as far as money goes, but I'm not surprised about that either. Both, as far as I'm concerned, that those organizations are filled with frauds. Give it about 2 more minutes. No, Isaiah, you just text the number right there and you automatically get at it. I have the app. All you got to do is just text the number. What's going on, Jamarius? Hey, Tonda. Vampire Hunter Greg, glad to catch me live. I'm glad that you could be here. Marky said, "You heard what Jeannie Mai said on Twitter." I don't know what she said on Twitter. I almost really don't care, to be honest. I bet it was something dumb and ignorant, and it wouldn't be the first time she said something stupid. I can just about guess what it's pertaining to, though. Okay, I'm gonna just go ahead and get started. It's 4:09. So before I actually get started with this week's freestyle Friday, I wanted to show y'all something. So we all know, and speaking of Jeannie Mai, not talking about her, but talking about the community that she comes from. As we all know and seen lately, the Asian community is on one. Like they are on some other shit right now. But I actually do have a video coming about that. coming soon, by the way. So stay tuned for that. But I came across this video on my Twitter page that should have been disturbing to the Asians that were there, but the way that they reacted, or should I say they did not react, you would think they were condoning what was going on. So what I'm about to do is share my screen right quick. Hold on. So y'all can see this. All right, hold on right quick. And those of you who's on Twitter, you may have seen it, you may have not, I'm not sure.
ก็ไม่เกิน60 วิจ๋าโยหยีโยหยาโยโยหยีไอ้อะไรเดี๋ยวอะไรออกไปเลยนี่จ๋าโยหยีโอ้ยหยาโอ้ยว้าวโอ้ย Sorry, we are not Chinese. We are not Chinese.
I'm gonna play it for y'all again.
จ๋าโยหยีโยหยาโยโยหยีไอ้อะไรเดี๋ยวอะไรออกไปเลยนี่จ๋าโยหยีโอ้ยหยาโอ้ยว้าวโอ้ย Sorry, we are not Chinese. We are not Chinese. ขายนี่เนี่ยหยาโอ้ย
Did y'all hear that? Did y'all hear that? Hey, what's going on, Kimberly? Exactly, Savage. She said that he's making fun of their culture in their own country. I didn't know where this was at. I didn't know if that was here and they just happened to be all together in this elevator, or if this was in another nation. But Stephanie, you said this was in their country. I couldn't tell, but we do know that there's one white guy who's the guy right here, and filled with in an elevator full of Asians, and he's sitting there for 15 seconds mocking their language, and then notice that you had. Let me skip ahead a little bit. Notice you had this guy right here. Look in the back, the guy with the glasses on, smiling and waving his hands, like he's just glad to be on camera while he's being insulted. But they got all this smoke for black people, but you got this PC man right here literally mocking their language in front of them and not doing a goddamn thing. They not throwing him in no headlocks. They not kicking his ass. They not using no and I'm gonna be stereotypical. They not using no martial arts, no karate, none of that on him. They just sitting there, one waving his hand, smiling, and just looking at him, letting him get away with it for 15 goddamn seconds. But had it been us, we wouldn't even have to do much. They would have pulled the entire dojo out on our ass. Now you did have a couple in there that was looking at him like he was kind of crazy. You even had one asking him, was he speaking Chinese? Like if you heard it at the end, she said, "Is that Chinese?" Or if he was trying to say Chinese, knowing damn well that's not what he was like doing. But the fact of the matter is that he stood right there in this elevator and he mocked them more than once and found it funny, and they didn't react in the way that you would think that they should have. And look at it, it's one of him versus I don't know how many of them. I just found that to be interesting. Let me see what y'all say in the chat. Passion Black said they want to be white so bad. Stephanie said she and one other person didn't like that at all. Vampire said PC never gets that smoke. Isaiah said disrespecting their language and their culture. Jamaria said they worship their PC masters. Tawana said they see their future husband in the white man. And 007 Spidey 2 said they gave him a slap on the wrist. If that's what a slap on the wrist looks like. I just thought that this was very interesting. And I said I had to share this with y'all because this past week, or this week, I should say, Black people have been under fire when it comes to the Asian community and them making these outward claims that we are being just overtly racist to them. Meanwhile, and thanks to Seiji Hito, hopefully y'all will subscribe to his channel. He did a few videos on his channel this week talking about the attacks that has fallen upon the Asian community that has mainly been falling upon them from other groups that are non-Black. Or what about, the stories I've done about those parlors, those Asian parlors where human trafficking and sex trafficking is running rampant by their own against their own. Because I can guarantee you this. If this was an elevator full of Black people and this white guy did this even as a form of a prank, he probably would be stumbling to get up out that elevator. I'm just being honest. Remember all those pranks that those white guys used to come to the hood or the projects or the ghetto to do because they wanted to get a reaction out of Black people? Them Black people was, if they couldn't get their hands on them, they were prepared to get the beatdown of their life. Is there certain things that you just don't do? Instead of really taking it out on the people that they should, they found a target. I'll say this: Massa paid, not paid, but Massa has taught them well. Now they are executing what they've been taught. But that's all I want to show as far as that goes. This has been a very interesting Black History Month. I will say that a lot of stuff has happened in this month that really wasn't for Black people, but that's unfortunately almost to be expected. I still didn't see what Jeannie Mai said. You're like Vulcan. You're like the second person that mentioned something about her. I still haven't seen what she has said. And y'all said that she posted it up on her Twitter account. All right, Jordan, we should still be here by the time you get back. And make sure if you are new here that you subscribe to the channel. I will greatly appreciate it. I'm trying to still grow this channel. Kenley said, and now they're coming out with that One Nation bullshit show airing Tuesday. One Nation, One Nation. I can't say that I heard of it, but it just sounds real All Lives Matter-ish. Stephanie said that Jeannie Ma said that racism has no hierarchy. I've been telling people about that chick, but hey. So basically, gathering from her saying that, what I'm guessing is, and someone correct me if I'm wrong, when she says racism has no hierarchy, she's basically saying that any group can be racist no matter where they fall at on the hierarchical spectrum of society, is what you're saying. Like, hopefully that's what I'm getting from her tweet. thus meaning that anybody who is on the bottom can be racist, even to those against those who are at the top. What's going on, Solo Dolo? Yeah, she really doesn't know what she's talking about. What's going on, Great Black Shark? This is now that Asians are talking Black and Asian unity. They always, it's funny, we are always made to unite with people who hate us, who hate our guts. What I'm about to do is I'm about to drop the link in the chat. If you would like to come up, you are allowed to do so. Kathy B says, I love your voice. I can listen to you all day. Nice radio voice. Thank you. Oh, I had meant to say this at the beginning of the stream. As y'all know, I had went out of town last Friday. So I had to take a WUVIT test before I left. And then I took one coming back. I'm 2-2 on as far as negative results. I found negative before leaving and negative when I came back. I really wasn't worried either, Dana, because I still always like pretty much still take precaution. But I was like, I will say this. Coming back, from Atlanta, because where I was at was quite a bit of amount of people. And then on top of that, I did have to fly there and then I flew back. So, there's that. And the results came back very fast too. Like when I came back, I took the test on Tuesday and the results literally were back that evening. And it wasn't even rapid testing that I did. Like I did the standard, like the regular standard one, and they were back that later on that evening. No, they did the one that's in the nose, but they didn't like use a cotton swab in the nose or go all the way up my nostril. It was right there, like on the rim of my nostrils. What's going on, D? But yeah, that's pretty much like how it was like when I had to leap before I left and when I got back. Right, Craig. I actually talked about that in a live stream a couple weeks ago about how they go about doing their test. That's very interesting and in my opinion not even needed. Like why would you even do it like that? Stephanie said Warner Brothers is messing with Ice Cube. Why is Warner Brothers messing with Ice Cube? I'm glad y'all are telling me some of this stuff because I'm gonna be honest. Like I've been kind of out of the loop for the last week, to be quite honest. So y'all are bringing some stuff to me that I didn't even hear about. But why is Warner Brothers messing with Ice Cube? Are they trying to mess with his royalties. They're trying to hold back on his Friday franchise. They've been trying to get that last Friday movie off the ground for the longest. At this point, I don't know if it's going to happen or not. Remember, a Vulcan, remember what I've said about domino effects. You never know. Hopefully they don't, but you just never know. God, the only reason I'm not going to talk about what you just brought up is because I made a video about it that I haven't uploaded yet. But yeah, that is ridiculous. And I remember, listen, y'all gonna realize the domino effect is real on a lot of stuff that I talk about on my channel. Sure, I'm not the one that coined the phrase domino effect, but a lot of the stuff that I said is gonna have a domino effect, it usually ends up trickling down and you'll see it. Great Bless Show, says you heard about about the academy, a new bill adding special protections to them passed the House and is going to the Senate. Yeah, I heard about it, and I shared it on my Twitter timeline yesterday. I basically said, uh, Mr. Touchy Feely is doing exactly what he said he was going to do. He told people what he was going to do and for what groups, and he's doing it. Notice he didn't say anything specifically for black people, so that's why you're not getting anything. Well, for those who voted for him. See, here's the thing. Black people tried to do what white people did back in 2016. You know how 45 ran off of Make America Great Again, and then they ran out there and they voted for him. The only difference between him and Mr. Touchy Feely is that his people, in some way, shape, or form, actually got something out of the deal. With black people who went out there and voted for Mr. Touchy Feely and clown Mala Harris, they're not getting a damn thing out of the deal. Zay said, "Have I ever done the self-identify process in job applications? When I select black, no one calls me. When I select decline, they call me." Well, I got it. Well, I don't know if I have or can't remember if I have or if I haven't, but I would like to know when they called you and found out that you were indeed black. What was their reaction? I remember seeing a story years ago on Yahoo's front page. I'll never forget it. If I was doing YouTube at the time, that definitely been a story I would have talked about. Where you had this Hispanic guy whose name was Jose apply for this job, had all the qualifications and everything, but they didn't hire him because his name was Jose. So what he did was he changed his name from Jose to Joseph, sent the same application back in with the same qualifications, and he ended up getting called in for an interview. And I just found out there's a 10-second delay on these streams, which is why I can talk about something and people will be just responding to it, even though I'm on to the next subject. Oh yes, most definitely, Stephanie. That's a given. I've heard countless stories of a lot of black people having to alter their names to get a job. dropped the link again just in case anybody wants to come up. Like I said, this is Freestyle Friday, so this is the one day out of every month that I allow y'all to come up and say whatever you want to say. He said in the interview they're hella surprised, like they were expecting an Asian or Hispanic. And the thing is, you're in the interview room, so they can't exactly just turn you away. You're already there. 007 Spicy said, poor Tiger. Oh, you talking about Tiger Woods. Oh, yeah. Tiger Woods, he was in that very, very, very bad car accident that he's extremely lucky to be alive. And because, the last time he was in a car wreck, which wasn't as serious as this one, they say he was under the influence of some medication because I think he had just had some kind of surgery or something like that. Tiger Woods just needs to not be behind the wheel of a car. And I'm not saying that in a joking way. I'm being for real. He just does not need to be behind the wheel of a car for not only his safety, but for others as well. Because they said they had to use the jaws of life to pry him out of his car. And those of you who have seen the jaws of life, that is a heavy duty machine. They said if his airbag did not blow out, he would have died. So his airbag saved his life. Joseph, you said, am I doing a Mortal Kombat 2021 review when it comes out? Yes, I do plan on that. Comes out April 16th. And the perfect thing about it is the movie theater that's near me, well, one of them, will be open. So I can actually go and actually physically see it. To which, if I do go see it on the day that it comes out, I probably won't go live that day. Ashton, I see that you're in the back chat, but it says device is not connected, so I can't add you to the stream. Stephanie said, did you hear that one of his mistresses was at the hospital when his fiance came to visit? I wouldn't be surprised considering how many women Tiger Woods has siphoned through while he was married to that other chick. Hood Mistress Reloaded says Tiger has been off code from jump. Yeah, unfortunately, of course, that mugshot that he had from the previous wreck did humble him because that thing said B for black, not C for Cablasion. 007 Spidey said, do you think Spider-Man No Way Home will have Toby and Andrew? Tom Holland said that they're not in the movie. Then there was sources saying that they were in the movie, so I don't know. We'll just have to see when the movie comes out. Eastside Do or Die said they said Tiger Woods' dad loved to do the bug dance. I've heard that's actually where Tiger Woods' self-hate actually came from, was from his dad. And I heard that on numerous occasions. Kimberly said that she feels that Tiger Woods is a drug addict. Possibly, and here's the thing, one of the easiest people to become addicted to drugs are those who are in constant pain. Like painkillers is like one of the top drugs people can get addicted to because they're in so much pain that they feel if they take enough of the drug to the point where they take more than the recommended prescribed amount, that'll make the pain go away. Unfortunately, that's what happened with Michael Jackson. After he got burned in the Pepsi commercial, he ended up becoming addicted to painkillers. And I think that was the beginning of the downward spiral of his personal life. Jamari said, I want to see Zack Snyder's cut of the Justice League. Look, I'm so over that whole Justice League. I'm so tired of it. I'm like, can that day hurry up and come and go so we can move on from that? They actually pushed back Godzilla versus Kong a whole week for that. So I'm just like, look, let's just get this thing over with. What's going on, HD Squeezy? No, you don't have to be sorry, Jamar. That's just my take on it because I'm tired of hearing about it. Honestly, I really am. What's going on, Tatiana? Oh, speaking of video games, someone sent me an article, and I had meant to talk about it, but I'll talk about it here. So, y'all remember back in the day when Grand Theft Auto was very popular? Not saying it's not popular now, because if there was a release of Grand Theft Auto game today, people will go crazy for it. But remember when they came out with, I think it was Grand Theft Auto Vice City, and that was back with like around the time the PS2 had just came out, early 2000s, a classic game. By the way, if I listen, I would play that game right now if I could. But when Grand Theft Auto came out, they started to put out these articles and these news clips that there was a spike in car robberies and car thefts, and they tried to link it to Grand Theft Auto. At that time, it had some validity because you had people and even kids saying that they got inspired by the game to do that, which is why Grand Theft Auto had that. Grand Theft Auto was one of those games where they ended up having to switch around the the rating system on video games because of stuff like that. But another article just recently came out like this month where they were saying there was a spike in car thefts and whatnot, and they tried to blame it on Grand Theft Auto. I'm like, the last Grand Theft Auto game that came out was like what, 2016? Yes, Dana, the one with the prostitutes. I was like, wasn't that like 2016 or something like that? I think I can't remember what year it was, but it was like within the last 5 years. Right, Craig. They tried to ban the game because of that. But Rockstar wasn't going. Rockstar was like, "Look, we'll do whatever we can, but just don't ban the game because the sales for that game was phenomenal for that time." 2013. Okay, 2013. That's even longer. So yeah, that was the last Grand Theft Auto game to come out, which was Grand Theft Auto 5. I did have that game by the way, and that game was dope. Definitely had some replayability to it. But yeah, they try to say that the increase is coming from Grand Theft Auto. I'm like, Grand Theft Auto, that game, the last one came out almost 8 years ago, so you can't necessarily blame it on that. Vulcan said, "I'm excited for the new Mortal Kombat. I see they finally decided to do it. Hold on, let me as a movie right this time. Yeah, making it rated R, and it looks like they're incorporating the fatalities into the game, not the game, into the movie, like they do in the game, is a good touch. So I have a feeling that this is going to be good, especially since uh movie adaptations for video games, I probably said that wrong, rarely ever get it right. Not saying that none of them do, but too many don't. Jamar, yeah, Sub Zero is my favorite character too. HG Squeeze, I'm happy I finally got your live stream. Well, I'm glad that you're here. And if you haven't done so already, make sure you subscribe. Jay Cage says, is Johnny Cage in Mortal Kombat? I don't know. Because when they were doing the trailer for it, you didn't see him get mentioned or show him in any of the trailers. So I don't know if he's in it or not. What's going on, JJ Smooth? He says Mortal Kombat live action done right, hopefully. We shall see. The trailers, sometimes the trailers can be all nice and shiny, but they could be misleading. But hopefully it is done right. It looks very good. It has a very solid looking cast. My thing, like, so I'm seeing people saying that Johnny Cage is in it, but my thing is, if he is in it, why didn't they show him with the other characters? Like Johnny Cage is an OG character. It's not like he's brand new and no one knows who he is. Hell, they even showed off the new main character, and we don't know who he is. But yeah, the movie does look interesting. So I can't wait to see it because when that happens, I will most likely and definitely do a review on it. And what I might do is if it comes out on a Friday, which is the 16th, if I go see it, I most likely wouldn't even live stream that day. But if I do live stream, I might do it as a live review, sort of like how I did with Judas and the Black Messiah. Because I don't know what the storyline is that they're going with for this movie, but it is interesting to see where they'll go with it and see if they can break that curse of having bad video game movie adaptations. Hey, what's going on, Sean from the Shy? You said you under the dryer, getting tight and right. I said one thing that I liked about the trailer was how they incorporated the theme song of the old film into this, but they kind of remixed it. But if you listen to it close enough, you could hear it. I've always said that the theme song for Mortal Kombat was probably one of the best, most iconic and recognizable theme songs ever. Do not debate me on this. So this is why I like calling it Freestyle Friday because I can just come on here and talk about whatever, just whatever. Because if this was like a regular stream like I would do any other Friday, this would not be a topic. I'm just being honest. Great Black Shark says we need that game Killer Instinct versus Mortal Kombat. Now that would be the one. They don't make fighting games like they used to. If it wasn't for Mortal Kombat, people probably wouldn't even entertain fighting games like that right now. I'm just being honest. Mortal Kombat, in my opinion, is keeping the fighting game genre alive. They don't have them like they used to back in the day. Like, man, back in the day, I used to stay playing like Virtua Fighter, uh, Dead or Alive, Mortal Kombat, Tekken, Power Stone, Street Fighter, Killer Instinct. It was another one too. I forgot the name of the game. But those fighting games of the 90s and early 2000s were some of the best games ever. Like they don't like I said they don't really make fighting games like that anymore. Everything is for the most part first person shooters or an RPG of some sort. I wouldn't consider Fortnite as a fighting game. That's like an open world type of game. Really, the way I see it. As you said, have I ever watched Tales from the Crypt? I can honestly say I haven't even watched one episode of Tales from the Crypt. I do recognize the Crypt Keeper character though. He's very recognizable. And I do remember, like as a kid, going to the arcade and playing the different games and stuff like that. When arcades was around. Arcades aren't even around no more. You have to go if you want to go to an arcade style place. You got to go to like a Dave and Buster's. Like you can't go to an actual arcade and throw 25 cents in the machine and start playing. But one of my games that I used to love playing when I did go to the arcade was House of the Dead. Y'all remember that when you would play and you had the fake plastic gun and you had to use it to shoot the zombies? Those are one of my favorite games to play. I had horrible aim. But I'll never forget one time I actually went to a Dave and Buster's years ago, and it was this one guy who was there, and he was shooting behind his back, under his leg, like over his shoulder and whatnot. I said that guy must be trained to do all of that, and he was hitting the targets. Like that guy was killing it. Oh, to be a kid again. But speaking of like Tales from the Crypt, a show that I used to watch as a kid growing up was Are You Afraid of the Dark? That used to come on what used to be called Snick, which was Saturday night on Nick back in the day, like when you had shows like All That, Keenan and Kel, you had Are You Afraid of the Dark? I used to love watching Are You Afraid of the Dark? The theme song used to scare me though. The stories used to be creepy as hell too. But I think I like that horror element for kids, and that's what made me continue to watch it. But that was my shit. Wayne Tillman said, "Am I into the American Horror Story series? If so, are you hoping season 10 is a huge bounce back from the very lackluster seasons 8 and 9?" I fell off of American Horror Story, but American Horror Story Coven was probably arguably the best season. Anybody who watched American Horror Story will probably say Coven was the best season. That was the one with Angela Bassett. Tom, you said Are You Afraid of the Dark still comes on like as new episodes? See, I wouldn't know. I couldn't even tell you what channel Nick is on. Yes, Nika, I used to watch Goosebumps. Goosebumps was another show that I used to watch as a kid on Saturday mornings on Fox Kids. We on here showing our ages, but you know, it's nostalgic purposes. He said, "What is my favorite episode of Are You Afraid of the Dark?" I think the one where they made a movie. It was. I remember they had a movie on a made-for-TV movie for Are You Afraid of the Dark. I think that was my favorite one. Steffi said the season called Cult is like the Trump administration. Was that a season that has already aired, or is that an upcoming season? Yeah. Oh, Great Black Shark. Now you speaking my language. The Batman animated series in the '90s was lit. It was that theme song. Like when it was coming on, you just knew it was about to be some heat. My favorite episodes of that, I had a lot of them, but anytime you had any of Batman's real famous villains on there, of course, anytime the Joker popped up, like or Two Face or Mister Freeze or something like that, those are my favorite episodes of the series. I like the show overall, but I love when his biggest villains, his biggest adversaries would come up and he would fight them. And yes, the X-Men as well. Speaking of theme songs, that X-Men theme song, classic, iconic. Yeah, they don't make shows like that anymore. That's why, like, you know, I find that a lot of people in our age range have nostalgia issues. Not that that's necessarily a bad thing considering what we have today, but it's just that they called the 90s the golden era for a reason. Because everything about that time was just simply golden, such as the shows, the movies, the music, the clothes, the people. Like it was a whole different lifestyle back then. Even when the early 2000s came in, because you were still transitioning from the 90s into the 2000s, so it was still elements there. Stuff, in my opinion, didn't really start to change until maybe around after '07. So like when '07 or after '07 came, which was the '07 was the year I graduated high school. So around after that time, that's when I started to see a shift or stuff started to change. Solo though said now they're about to put all these agendas in the cartoons for kids. About to, they are, they have, and they still and they will continue to do so. Jada said Cartoon Network was at its best in the '90s. I agree. I wholeheartedly agree with you on that one. He said, "Who remembers Johnny Quest?" I couldn't really get into Johnny Quest like that, and I'm not saying it because it was before my time, but I just couldn't really get into Johnny Quest like that. I mean, why do you think a lot of stuff from back then are getting reboots today? It can't be simply because the people from who are around back then want them. I mean, we already had them. It's like it's etched in time. It's because, well, one, Hollywood is running out of ideas, and two, is nostalgic purposes. I understood what you said, Solo Dolo. A very interesting way of putting that. He said they're going to make a new Transformers, but it won't involve robots. Hint, hint. I know exactly what you mean when you say that. Yeah, Fox Kids was the shit too. But me, I was more of a Kids WB type of guy. Like I used to watch like Static Shock. Listen, Static Shock was my shit. Static Shock, Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh. What else? I'm trying to think of that kid. What was that movie? No, that game. Jackie Chan Adventures, Shaolin Monk. I remember when Men in Black had a cartoon. They used to come on Kids WB. I'll take. Hold on, let me scroll back up right quick. J. Jock Carter says, "Did I ever do a video about Rush Limbaugh?" I did. I did it in the form of a live stream. So if you want to see what I had to say about Rush, you have to go to the live stream that happened before this one. The last live stream I did on this channel, I talked about Rush Limbaugh. As a matter of fact, it's in the title of the stream. Who used to watch Hercules and Xena? Oh yeah, I used to watch Batman Beyond too. But who used to watch Hercules and Xena? I used to love watching both of those shows back in the '90s. And I used to remember that it was in a lineup. Hercules would come on first, and Xena would come on after it. And then I remember there was a couple episodes where they had them cross over with each other. I wonder why they never made a Xena movie. Because they had a Hercules movie, but I wonder why they never made a Xena movie. I didn't watch Highlander. The only you said does anyone remember that cartoon Duckman? I don't remember that one, but I do remember Darkwing Duck. Darkwing Duck was my shit too. He said, "Who remembers Power Rangers and Beetleborgs?" Like, are you serious? Did you really ask me who remembers Power Rangers? That was like a staple of my childhood. Like, you couldn't even be like one of the cool kids and not know what the Power Rangers was. Everybody wanted to be the White Ranger or the Green Ranger when he was the Green Ranger. All the girls wanted to be the Pink Ranger. He said they changed me to potato. Yeah, I know. I'm gonna talk about that on my main channel. They real goofy for that. I remember Beetleborgs too. I used to watch Beetleborgs. I remember when the Power Rangers movie came out. Who remembers the Power Rangers movie, the first one, the one that came out in 1995 with Ivan Ooze? Looking back at it now, that CGI is terrible, but at the time, that CGI was elite. But yeah, everybody wanted to see Power Rangers because they wanted to see the Ivan Ooze character. They were like, who is this big, ugly? Well, he wasn't even big, but who is this ugly purple being? I remember when I was a kid and it was a scene in the movie and they went to go get the purple ooze. I said, I said, did they sell that in stores? And I think they did. But my parents didn't let me get it because they saw that and they just knew that I would drop it on the carpet and mess up the rug. So they didn't even take the risk. But I have a feeling if they was to do Power Rangers and they brought Ivan Ooze back today, I don't know how I would feel about that. The technology would make it look better, but that was good for the time. You said, "What is my thoughts on the newer Power Ranger movie?" You mean like the one that came out like a couple years ago? I didn't really have an issue with it that that much as I thought I was. I wish they would have kept going with it, especially with how the movie ended, because the movie ended with the hint that the Tommy character was coming in, and people that let's be real here, Tommy was one of the more popular characters on the show. Like Tommy was the badass. There was another comic that I saw up here that I wanted to see. Wayne Timmons said I was already in my early 20s, but Saved by the Bell was Saturday morning gold. Yes. I listen, Saved by the Bell was nobody was gonna find any peace in the household until I watched my episode of Saved by the Bell. Like if I was like if Saved by the Bell came on, I made sure that I was watching it and because I wasn't about to dub it on the tape. And I remember when I was in elementary school when the show went into syndication, they would show reruns of the episode back to back and right before I had to go to school. Luckily for me, I lived right across the street from my school. So I could literally just walk to the school after the episodes were done, even though I had already watched them so many more times before. But Saved by the Bell was definitely a classic for me. You said whose team was I on, Genesis or NES? Genesis. I didn't have a Super Nintendo. Played it, but I didn't have it. But I did have a Genesis. But I had I had the. These are the consoles I've had. I had the Genesis, the Dreamcast, the original PlayStation, Crash Bandicoot. That's all I gotta say. Uh, the Xbox, the 360. I haven't purchased a game console in years, and I'm not exactly in a rush to go out and buy one. What's going on, Auntie? No, I have not played Splatterhouse, Great Black. What's going on, James? James Square. Spiral the Dragon. Yes, Caressa. Spiral was. Yeah, I love playing Spiral. And y'all remember going to the like the game stores back in the day, and they would have the demos playing, and you would play the demo just to to see what the game was like. They used to have them. I think they still do, but nobody really pays attention to them nowadays. They used to have like in the WalMarts and stuff like that, but now I don't think they do it anymore. And they used to send you the demo disc, You remember if you had like like if you had a video game console back in the day that had a disc, they would send you a demo disc to basically try to convince you to buy the full game. Okay, I got a quiz for those in the chat. I want to see if y'all how old y'all really are. When it came to cartridge style games like Super Nintendo or the regular Nintendo, if the game stopped working, what did you do to the cartridge to make it work again? I can't. I'm curious. I want to see what people are gonna say. Okay, so I see. Okay, I see. I have some people in here that know what they're talking about. You will blow in the cartridge to see if you can get the dust out. Auntie said, then throw a fit if it still didn't work. But I remember when I was younger, one of the ladies who used to be a babysitter, her son, he used to blow into that cartridge so hard that that thing whistled. That's how you know you blowing hard into that cartridge if it whistled. Okay, I have another one. This one doesn't even have to deal with the cartridge. It's not even really a little quiz. I'll just put it like this. Who remembers on the first PlayStation game, like not the first PlayStation game, the first PlayStation console, that when you put a game inside of it, you always had to make sure that you grabbed from the middle with the hole and on the side of the rim. Because if you touch with your fingers and fingerprints got on it and you put the game in the system and turn the system on, something would happen. Like you know how in the old PlayStation system, it would come on, make that sound, the white screen would come up, then the little Sony logo would come up and then you would have to breathe in hard in hopes that it goes to that black screen with the PlayStation logo on it. Because if it got stuck on that white screen, 9 times out of 10, it meant something was wrong with your disc. Oh yeah, and the scratches. The scratches used to be the worst. Those would be the absolute worst. If that thing got stuck on that white screen, it was a wrap. You either going to try to clean that disc or you just gonna have to get a whole new game. Exactly, and the tiniest little scratch would ruin your whole day. Well, like I said, the wiping down would be good if it had like fingerprints, but if it had scratches, you couldn't really do nothing about a scratch. At that point, it was just ruined. Who remembers? I know y'all remember it, but I'll just ask it. Who remembers the Golden Eye game? That game was probably one of the best party games to play. Like if you had like four of your friends, like you and three other friends, and you was playing on that four-way split screen, and y'all was like going around killing each other on that Golden Eye game on what system was that? The Nintendo 64. The Golden Eye game. It would be so funny to play that game, especially if you ran out of bullets and you had nothing but a knife to throw. I remember that used to be me. I would always be like using up all my bullets. And I'm like, damn, I'm stuck with this little ass pocket knife. Yeah, Jamaris, I used to play Mario Kart as well. Yeah, I used to play Mario Kart. But I'm surprised no one threw this in there. But I'll throw it in now. Who remembers Halo? Halo was one of Xbox's first games. It probably was the first game for Xbox. But when Halo came out, that was a big deal. Halo was a big deal back in the day. Master Chief was dope, was a dope character. I remember when I used to play with my friend who used to live down the street, we was killing it in them little Halo games. And then when they came out with the second one and they had the Soul Sword, that Soul Sword was so dope. We still to this day was wondering why they never made a Halo movie. Yeah, DeAndre, that's unfortunate because Halo definitely had a good run back in the day. Like it had a very good run. Then of course you had God of War. Shout out to Kyle Barker from Living Single. For those of y'all who didn't know, the actor who played Kyle Barker on Living Single did the voice of Kratos on God of War. But I think some of you probably know that. But in case you didn't, you know now. But God of War was dope too. Now the thing is, I didn't have a PlayStation 2. So I couldn't play it like that. But when I did play it, oh my God, that game was so dope. It was addicting. Like I could not put it down. Like I just like couldn't stop playing it. Yeah, for those of y'all who didn't know, the actor who played Kyle Barker on Living Single did the voice of Kratos in God of War. Yeah, T.C. Carson is yes his name. Yep. Yeah, I remember the Spider-Man 2 game too, Jamaris, and that was one of the reasons why I wanted to get that game too. And then it did end up getting it because of the free roaming of the city. Like the first Spider-Man didn't have that, unfortunately. And I remember the web slinging looking so slow. But then when that second one came and they fixed it up, I was like, yeah, now this is Spider-Man right here. I wasn't really into Final Fantasy like that. But I do know that it had a cult following because Final Fantasy, like, if you spoke bad about Final Fantasy at one point, they would good luck, making it through school. Because Final Fantasy was like, I don't know what I can compare it to today, but Final Fantasy at that time was that game. It was really the game that made RPGs popular, in my opinion. Oh, Nika, you talk about Parappa the Rapper? When you said the rapping dog, I knew exactly what you were talking about. Yeah, you talking about Parappa the Rapper. Oh, how could man, listen, Joseph, I'm glad you said that. Def Jam Vendetta and Def Jam Fight for New York. And what was the other one? Def Jam, was it called? The Streets? I think that's what it was called. Yes, the Def Jam fighting games was the epitome of what a hood classic would be if it was in video game format. I remember when I had Def Jam Fight for New York, I had created my character and everything. And I played that game so many times. Icon, thank you. Icon, I thought it was called the Streets, but Icon, yes. Yeah, but Def Jam Vendetta and Def Jam Fight for New York was definitely great for that time. You won't get a game like that today. You just can't. Not with the rappers they got today. I never played the Warriors game. Saw the Warriors movie. I never played the game though. You said Hood Mission says, "Let me see if you remember this playing the bootleg versions of SF2 Champion Edition in the custom place." You got me on that one, James. We already talked about GTA. We talked about that was the conversation that kind of kicked this part of the conversation off. Did any of y'all play the Tomb Raider games? I did. I can admit it. Tomb Raider like is a classic, game. I didn't play the last two that they came out with, mainly because I just didn't have the consoles. But if I had it, I definitely would have got it. But Tomb Raider was definitely a long-lasting video game classic for sure. I could never beat the first Tomb Raider game. I didn't have the second one, but when I started to like buy them, then that's when I was able to beat them. I'm surprised I forgot to mention this one. I know y'all played the Sonic games. Like Sonic back in the early 90s ruled over Sega anything. Like you was not gonna have a Sega console without a Sonic game title being attached to it some at some point. Because when I remember when the Genesis came out, you had those three Sonic games. I think Sonic had a game on the Saturn. I know Sonic had a game on the Dreamcast. I didn't play Tomb Raider Chronicles, but I did play Tomb Raider Legacy, which I think came out either the like a couple years after that. And speaking of Sonic, the Sonic movie that came out last year was actually good. That was one of the few times when a video game adaptation, a movie adaptation of a video game was actually good. And that's because the people was like, look, the design of how this original Sonic look of that y'all originally had to looks trash. Do not release that. They went back and they fixed it, and the movie came out and it's looking and it looked good. I actually enjoyed it. And speaking of Sonic, they're coming out with a second one next year. As a matter of fact, I don't know if y'all saw the teaser for it. Hold on right quick, y'all. And that's it right there. It's real short. And that's the actual teaser for the one that's coming out next year. But that's all they have so far because I don't think they've actually started to officially really work on it yet. But one thing that got me was the fact of that music. That music got me. Tina, I was a Tekken and Mortal Kombat player. I can't really pinpoint which one I like more, but I like both of them. DeAndre says the great title for sequel will be Sonic the Hedgehog Player 2. Well, you see the tail right there, so they're basically saying Tails will be in this one, and I heard Knuckles is going to be in this as well. And it's rumored that the actor Jason Momoa will be voicing Knuckles. Ashley said, I remember watching the classic Sonic cartoon where Jaleel White voiced him. Yeah. Yes, in case y'all did not know, Jaleel White, Steve Urkel voiced Sonic in the original run of the Sonic the Hedgehog cartoon series. Mind you, while he was voicing that character, he was still playing Steve Urkel on Family Matters. So he was doing the damn thing in the early 90s. Probably only going to be in on for a couple more minutes. But I really enjoyed this. That's why I said I like the Freestyle Friday. You said, oh, Ashley said you remember the Aladdin series. I forgot that Aladdin did have a series back in the day. They had a series that came out after the Return of Jafar movie. Tekken and Joseph said Tekken and Mortal Kombat are one of the few games where the black characters are esteemed and dignified. Yeah, because I remember when the Eddie Goro character came out on Tekken, and every black person played with Eddie Goro. Even though playing with him was dope because he was like he was a I think he wasn't he Jamaican? Well, he was from one of the Caribbean islands, and he was a dancer. Then I think they brought his sister into the game. Then of course Mortal Kombat had Jax, and then they brought his daughter Jackie into the game. Right, Zay said Jax with those punches in the new Mortal Kombat. I can't wait to see what they're gonna do with his character in the movie. Because if you saw the trailer, his arms get frozen by Sub Zero and then ripped off, and then that's how he gets his cyberkinetic arms. Because originally like he had his original arms, but he just had the metal plates over him. But this time he actually gets cyberkinetic arms that almost looks like something out of the Terminator. So I'm curious to see what they're going to do with that. Well, J Dog, I'm actually about to get off of the stream in a few minutes. Jay Cage says, "Will I watch the Loki TV series?" Most likely, because I'm like, the MCU, so everything's connected. So I feel like if I don't watch it, even if I don't like it, I'm going to miss out on something when a movie comes out. So I don't want to be lost. So for the sake of it connecting, I will watch it. But it does look interesting. It seems like the theme for the MCU this going time around is something dealing with magic and multiverse stuff or time travel. That's what the vibes I'm getting from this phase. 007 Spidey says, "Don't you think the Eds were Cartoon Network's answer to Nick SpongeBob?" Well, to be honest, and I'm gonna be honest, I didn't watch Ed and Eddie like that. And I'm gonna be even more honest with you. I didn't watch SpongeBob like that either. Just being honest. So I couldn't even answer that for you. Pinky J Webby says, "I hope he doesn't die in the first 15 minutes." I highly doubt that. Because looking at the trailer and the multiple scenes that he's in, I highly doubt he's gonna die in the first 5 minutes. It just looks like he just loses his arms to Sub-Zero. Like Sub-Zero freezes his arms and rips them off, which I can see probably most likely happened early on in the movie. It would have to. What actually is shocking me, though, out of the cast for the new Mortal Kombat movie is that they actually have a black actress, or I think she's black, or at the very least, or the very most, she's mixed actress playing Melina. Okay, Pinky J. Webby, I'm about to say, like, I highly doubt they're gonna kill Jax. They better not. All right, Charles, I'm about to actually get up off of here. I really enjoyed this conversation and the direction that it took, and I'm glad that I could come on here and talk to y'all about something other than what I usually come on here and talk about. Because y'all know y'all get that from me all the time on the main channel, but I'm glad I was able to come on here and just, like I said, this is more like a kickback, and I like to do this at least once a month. And these Fridays are the perfect ones. The end of the month, every Friday is the perfect one to do it. But I'm gonna go ahead and get up off of here. If y'all have not done so already, make sure y'all text that number that's right there flashing on your screen at the bottom, 301-747-0390, so you can receive the notifications every time I go live on here or every time I upload a new video. Make sure y'all subscribe to this channel, have the bell click. Even if the notifications ain't on, they might send it out that day. I don't know. But with that being said, y'all enjoy the rest of your day. We back on the main channel tomorrow. Of course, y'all know how y'all know the schedule. And I will talk to you all in the next one.